stories that connect us to ourselves and each other. These stories reveal who we are and show us the many vivid, wild colors of our truth. Welcome to Soul Wanderings, where we raise spiritual awareness and foster connections through these shared stories and personal experiences. And now, exclusively on KGRA Radio, I give you your host for Soul Wanderings Radio. Here's AJ.
Hello, it's Wednesday night, which means it is time to Soul Wander. Soul Wanderings is a show about journey stories, and we are hanging out here on the one and the only KGRAradio.com, which is heard throughout our universe every Wednesday from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, and each week we have this beautiful opportunity to wander with a new guest about their authentic experiences through this human journey, and it is so lovely to have you here with us for yet another live show. My name is AJ Rasmussen, and I am an owner and operator all the things of a heart-centered healing space called Vibes, Mind, Body, Spirit. And it's there where I get to assist others in their personal journeys in healing the mind, body, spirit, and the heart. I also am your host of Soul Wanderings. If you are new around here and you are listening live with us tonight, come and hang out with us in the chat room hosted on KGRAradio.com. That's where myself and other wanderers hang out, and it's a great place to ask your questions. Shall you find yourself having one or two? I really feel you will want to be there with us too. And you can do that by going to kgraradio.com/chat. And I hope to find you guys there with myself and all the other wanderers. So last week was Thanksgiving, and I hope everyone had a blessed holiday. We had Natalie Peace on the show the eve of, and we were able to have some yummy conversation as a pre-Thanksgiving appetizer. I know you guys just adore when I bring Natalie on the show, aka the Numbers Lady. If you loved our conversation and would like more shows like the one we had last week, where we had organic conversation about important topics on learning and growth, I would love to hear from you. Get some feedback and maybe even some suggestions for other topics you'd like us to conversate about. And you can get a hold of me by email, and you can do that at connect@soulwanderings.com. And I'll be waiting for those emails because I love hearing from you guys. All right, let's get this party started. Let's just begin our wandering. Is everyone ready? Because tonight is going to be powerful. Like, bam, powerful. Ooh. Like good. Our guest shares ways people can embrace their ugliness of shame and trauma and recreate it and themselves into something strong, beautiful, resilient, and powerful. She coaches clients on ways to embrace their inner badass. She inspires audiences with her witty perspective on crappy pasts, and she empowers women to lean in and own their spot at the proverbial table. I always say that funky. Proverbial table. She brings a positive beacon of hope to those struggling in their darkness, and she learned to break the cycle of failure and has accomplished feats from graduating college at 36 26 to becoming an award-winning sales rep to building her own entrepreneurial empire. And most recently, our guest has written a book called The Things We Don't Talk About. And with a title like that, you all knew I had to have this girl on our show because we are all about authentic journey stories after all. Welcome to the show, Stacy Bernal.
Thank you, AJ.
I'm so happy to have you here.
I am so happy to be here.
I've been anxiously awaiting this wandering with you.
I know. Me too.
In fact, it was last year you had come into Vibes and donated a prize for our suicide awareness and mental health fair. And I said, leave me your cards. And we've had them on the board. And I'm like, I'm going to get her on my show one day. I'm going to get her on the show one day.
Today is the day.
I know. It's so awesome. And some of you guys may know my past guest, Dr. Dee Franey. We'll have to give a shout out to her because she was like, AJ, have you asked Stacy to be on the show yet?
I love Dee.
I know. She's so awesome.
And I miss her, Dee.
I can't even talk about it. I tear up. She's like one of my best gals. So for those of you who don't know, she wandered off to Germany with her hubby. So she's living her best life right now.
Yes.
That's really awesome.
She is.
And maybe we'll have to plan a girls' trip.
I know.
Maybe. What am I saying maybe for? We're coming for you, Dr. D.
Yes.
But let's talk about you.
Okay.
All right. I mean, it is a show about you tonight. All about Stacy.
Wow.
So I had this beautiful intro about you, which I stole from her website, which we'll give to you guys later in the show. But tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
A little bit.
I know.
Who is Stacy? And we'll get into the deep stuff later.
After the intro, it's like, wow, is that me? Is that really me?
That's all you, girl.
Yeah. Oh man. I'm a doer. Like you, I think I'm a doer of all the things, of many things. But yeah, my most recent adventure is that I am an author, which is...
How does that feel?
It's so weird for me to say that. I don't know if you saw my Facebook post last night, and if anyone wants to go stalk me on Facebook, I created this little meme, and it was a scene from Legally Blonde where he says, "You got into Harvard?" And she's like, "What? Like it's hard?" And I changed it. So he's saying, "You wrote a book?" And then I'm saying like, "What? Like it's hard?" Because I feel like I manifested it. It was years in the making. And so that's my most recent title, is that I'm an author and I'm a speaker and coach and special needs parent, and I'm a grandma. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know.
I've got a 1-year-old grandbaby.
Yay.
Yeah. So lots of things going on in my world.
Lots.
But, yeah.
That's good though. I love being busy, but not too busy where I'm checked out busy.
Right.
I broke that cycle. Self-care is a big thing in my world now.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure you get that with your plate being pretty full and you have all of these things going on.
Yeah.
You're very well aware of the self-care necessity.
Well, that's why I'm a runner. And I joke that my distance running is parallel to my stress levels. So when I first started running, it was kind of against my will, but I was asked to run on a relay race for the Ogden Marathon, and I had a 7-mile portion of this 26.2 mile race, and I thought, I'm going to die running 7 miles, and I did it, and from there I've kind of been nonstop since then, and it's changed my life, and it's a big part of my story. But my first marathon I ran right around the time my son got diagnosed with autism, and then my first ultra marathon, my first and only at this point, my first ultra marathon, I ran when he was in junior high. And it was like, okay, I know my stress is going to be through the roof. I know that running is my happy place. That's my self-care. So run all the miles and escape that crazy.
So when you're gone for several hours, we know your stress level's pretty high.
Yeah.
Or was in the beginning.
Yeah. They know Mama's got to go for a run.
It's neat that you know what your tool is, you know, to be able to handle life.
Right.
I really encourage everyone to have one or two.
Yes. I do too. And that's what people are always like, well, I hate running. It doesn't have to run. Right. It's not about the running. It's about that connection.
Oh my gosh.
And, getting into your space and your
Coming back to yourself.
Mm-hmm. It really, really is.
So important.
Mm-hmm.
How did you learn that running was a thing for you? Like, how did you learn that was your tool?
You know what? It wasn't the actual running. It was being at the finish line. So that first race I did, I ran the first 7 miles, and then we actually got on a bus and it took us down to the finish line. And when I was standing there watching the marathoners crossing and seeing that energy and feeling that the vibe that's there, it was magical. I have never experienced anything like that. And I'm like, I want to feel that. I want to do that for myself. And so I immediately went home and signed up for a 10-mile race. And it was that feeling the first time I crossed a finish line and realizing I had just done this thing that I wasn't a runner. I didn't associate myself as someone who did these things, and being a part of that world and getting into that, and it was life-changing for me.
I could imagine.
Yeah.
What a rush.
It is a rush.
Like a total natural high.
It is a high. It's my job.
I've heard that, runner's high.
It is. And it's funny because it's not necessarily during the running. It's like
after.
It's the accomplishment. It's the euphoria afterwards. And you're like, I can't believe I just did that.
Yeah.
And then, just those positive endorphins just flow, and it's amazing.
So good.
Yeah.
You said that your book was a work in progress. It was up and coming, like you just put it out. How long ago did you decide, hey, I'm going to write a book? I'm going to share my story.
Yeah.
And not only does she share her story, which we'll get into, but it's raw.
It's very raw.
Yeah, that's what I love about it, because I'm a straight shooter.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, this girl's cool.
Yeah.
We can hang.
So it started actually with my speaking. The first time I gave a presentation was in March of 2017. So a little backstory is that I've been kind of in the real estate industry for about 13 years in just different roles. So I was a realtor, and then I was a title marketer and a loan officer. But at the time in 2017, I was a home warranty rep, and I marketed to realtors like they were my people. And I had this opportunity to give a presentation, and they wanted me to share my story. And so I called it Failure to Finisher, and talked about how, running my first marathon changed my life. And prior to that, I was a 3-time college dropout, and I was 3 times divorced. And I was that was my rock bottom pretty much. And until I ran the marathon, and all of a sudden, wow, I can do something hard. I can be a badass, like things I didn't think I could do. And so anyway, I'm sharing the story in 2017, and I'm very vulnerable in my presentation, and I'm talking about things from my past that were kind of scary to admit to people that I worked with. But the biggest story that I shared was about my adoption in high school. I got pregnant when I was a junior, and I placed my baby up for adoption. And I was terrified to share that story because it was the first time I was sharing it publicly. It was something that was obviously, at the time it happened when I was 17, I was embarrassed and ashamed. And you take those things in your life and you tuck them away. And for me to get up and publicly share that story for the first time, I was so terrified. And I thought, I'm going to lose business from these people, because now they're all going to have a reason to judge me. And
so why did you do it?
Because it was a very important piece of the story. If I'm going to come up and tell you about my story of failure to finisher and all the ways I was a train wreck, I want you to be very aware of what I'm talking about, and because I was talking about shame was the biggest piece. And I talked about how we can create these pearls out of our past, and how bad things, I talk about the way pearls are a beautiful end result of a negative experience, because this grain of sand gets in the mollusk, and the mollusk is trying to protect itself. So it starts coating these layers around it, and that's what becomes a pearl. And so for me, it was, I had been this bad person as a teenager who had made this mistake, and I had messed up. And I had walked into the bathroom one day at my high school, and someone had written, "Stacy Rubino is a knocked up hoe" on the stall door. And I internalized that for so long. And so, who wants to go around saying, "Oh yeah, I'm a knocked up hoe"? Like that's the thought process I had about myself. It was very negative and shameful. And then one day I had this big epiphany that I made this very hard decision at a young age and gave someone a baby. I'm like, that's pretty cool. And so my pearl that I created was that I'm a birth mother and there's no shame in that. And so that's what I wanted other people to connect with and resonate with, because we all have our stuff, right?
Right.
The things that we don't want to talk about, the things that we don't tell people,
right.
But we can see them for something beautiful. And maybe in my situation, it took me over 20 years to share that story.
You knew when you knew. It's empowering, and I'm sure the last thing you did was lose business.
Yeah, in fact, it was the exact opposite. Yeah. It was amazing because, we have a fairly conservative community around here, and there was definitely, it could have gone the other way. It could have been that I was judged and shunned, and I wasn't. I was really embraced. And in fact, I think people who maybe were kind of standoffish before, now I became more human to them, and people opened up. And that was the most amazing thing, is that people started telling me their secrets and their stories. And, it's just stuff that you would never have known, never, ever. And I had a friend that day that came up and said, "You need to write a book." And I'm like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'm like,
why would I write a book about my life?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, who cares about my story?
Right.
And he said, there are people who need to hear your story, that there are people that you will help by sharing your story. And, he said it and I just kind of tucked it away, but
he planted a seed.
He did plant the seed. And I went home shortly after that, and I did start writing, and I don't think that I was in my mind writing a book, but I thought I'll at least start putting some stories down. I'll at least, kind of go back to some places that I haven't revisited for a long time, and, just get them down and see what happens.
And the book was born.
The book was born.
I have this book in my hands. So the title or the cover is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
We'll have you guys refer to her website here soon, but it's a picture of Stacy with all kinds of titles, labels, whatever that looks like, written all over your beautiful body.
Oh, thanks.
And it's a very vulnerable photograph.
Yeah, those phrases were things that were either said to me or about me. So every single one of those. And I wish we had done there on the side of my neck. We have written man face on one side, and on the other side it says the weirdo's mom, which you can't see those in the picture.
And these ones.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's why Knocked Up Ho was the biggest one front and center on my chest, because that was the one that I held closest to my heart for the longest. And just, you want to talk about creating limiting self-beliefs and feeling like I'm never going to be good enough. That was definitely the thing that, what if people knew this thing about me?
We are so good at creating stories in our head of what it's going to look like. But the truth of the matter is, at your 17-year-old self, most adults wouldn't know how to be that selfless.
Yeah.
And that was a really big thing for you to do.
Thank you.
And I admire that about you, that you were able to make that decision. That's a huge decision to make. And not only that, whatever many years later, share that story openly with an audience of people you didn't know the outcome of. Yeah. So how awesome is that?
Know. Turns out I'm such a risk taker.
You are. And it doesn't just start there with that day that she decided to share a piece of her story. In her book, The Things We Don't Talk About, It's a story, I'll let you explain it, but it's a story about her life personally and the things that she had experience-wise. And I think there's probably a little nugget inside this book for every single person.
Yeah. Yeah, because we all have our things. And as I was writing it, it was so funny when the title came to me, because each of my chapters kind of had, this theme of something I have gone through, and and the overall message from each of them was that the topics are things that we tend to not talk about.
Right.
And it just seemed like such a perfect title, which is funny because people will say, well, what's your book about? And when I say, things we don't talk about, then they're like, they either want to walk away and not talk to me at all, or they're like, tell me more.
Right.
So,
and do you feel like there's more tell me mores than there is people who don't want to know?
Yeah, most people are pretty curious, but it's funny because even with the cover, people will look at it and they will say, it's an attention grabber. It makes me want to read it. The only, I guess, controversial feedback was that one woman told me that she wouldn't bring it home because she wouldn't want her 16-year-old daughter to see. And, I can appreciate that. As parents, you want to protect your kids, but then on the other hand, are you protecting them?
Right.
If you're
Very good question. I think the cover's very empowering because obviously you're telling a story, and it's a story that is no longer your truth. It was your experience. Yeah. And the ability for you to be able to share this with, thousands of people all around the world who now know the deepest, darkest truths of you.
Yes.
Dang. That takes courage.
But and this was my main goal, is that if I can share a story, if something in my life can be put out into the world and find someone else who says, oh my God, I needed that. I needed that message. I needed that push. I needed that thing to help me in my life. Then I was willing to put all that stuff out there, because there are things. One of my Amazon reviews says that she shares stories that most people would take to their grave. And I'm like, it's true. And I probably should have kept some of these stories for the grave, but I have been overwhelmed with the response from people who have reached out to me to tell me things. I mean, I've gotten so many messages and people will say, I had this thing happen to me and I've never told anyone else about it. And like, what an honor for me that I'm a safe space for that person. And that's creating a ripple effect for them, because I know how powerful it is to start talking, to start speaking these very scary, shameful things that we have in our past, in our hearts and our minds. And when you can vocalize that, you are taking some of that power away from the shame. So I love that when people are like, oh my gosh, I'm telling you this thing. I'm like, yes, now you can go in your, move forward in your life. And now you have a little bit of that weight off of you, and I'm happy to take it.
That's so good. Yeah. I feel, for me personally, the more that I have shown up that way and shared those really hard things, that there's always a listener supporting what I have to share, or thanking me for sharing, or being empowered to share their story. And that ripple effect that you're talking about is so powerful, because the more we hold this stuff in, it obviously derails our healing process. And I believe personally, we're here to have these experiences for our highest good, for our growth, and sharing it makes it that much more powerful. Yeah. It's really awesome. Thank you for writing this book.
Thank you.
I think it is incredible that you did. Dee, bringing her up again, she's like, yeah, I started reading and think I'd read a little bit. Next thing I knew, I was like, oh no, I'm reading this whole thing right now. And she did. She's like, you've got to read it. And I'm not a big reader. I listen to Audible. And so I was like, okay, I'll read it. But for me to sit down and read a book, that was a big deal. And
Yeah.
actually, I didn't have to think about it because it was a very easy book to read as far as the way it was written. Now, the things that are talked about aren't very easy to read because, like I said, there are parallels. And so, then it's like opening doors for myself or whoever or whatever that looks like. And so it's like, okay, yay, now we get to look at this.
I know.
Thank you for being such a great teacher.
Yeah.
You are listening to Soul Wanderings here on KGRAradio.com, and we are wandering with Stacy Bernal tonight, and we get to take a short break. So when we get back, we'll hear more about her book, The Things We Don't Talk About, which also includes your personal journey story.
Yes.
All of it does. And so we'll be right back, you guys. Stay close.
Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Hey, this check is wrong. I worked a holiday and 7 hours of overtime. Not getting paid correctly is a real pain. It could also hurt our boss if our company provides out-of-compliance checks. That's right, construction companies doing business with the government can get fined, or officials of the companies can go to jail if the checks aren't right. It's a law. The Davis-Bacon Act has 30 compliance issues for every check, but there is an easy way for construction companies to be in compliance. EMARS offers Compliant Client, a web-based system that finds and corrects all 30 of the possible out-of-compliance check issues. Users of Compliant Client report an 80% savings in time and money. Running a weekly payroll usually takes about 5 minutes. All 15,000 plus clients of EMARS have never had a legal compliance issue. Plus, they sleep better on check day. Contact EMARS at emarsinc.com or call 480-595-0466.
Feeling sluggish, bloated, gassy, and, well, want some relief? Try Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. Our unique blend of all-natural herbs go to work on your digestive tract, giving you So before you try our super strength formula. It does a great job removing intruders that jack you up. Thousands of people use Life Change Tea every month, so try it because you're gonna love the way you feel. And here's a little pick-me-up. Order now and receive 10% off your first order by entering in 10 today in the coupon code. That's 10 today in the coupon code. Go to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Enter 10 today in the coupon code for your 10% discount. Wow, feeling good never felt so good. Get some tea love at getthetea.com. Changing America one tea bag at a time.
Hi, I'm your host, Smokey Colbert. Filling in for Smokey because after 75 years of...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Turns out there's much more to say. Nearly 90% of wildfires are caused by us humans being careless, dumping our used barbecue coals willy-nilly. Guess the song was wrong. We did start the fire. That's why I respect Mother Nature and her trees, whether coniferous or new car scented. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
More ways for you to make contact. Live
Discord chat rooms, live talk radio, live video cast, toll-free HD phones, and coming this year, live streaming TV, giving you more ways to make contact. Your KGRARadio.com. This is Soul Wanderings Radio.
Welcome back to Soul Wanderings, hosted here on KGRARadio.com. Tonight we are wandering with our guest, Stacy Bernal, the author of The Things We Don't Talk About. Powerful. Yes. The things we don't talk about. Yeah. However, tonight we're talking about
We are.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about all the things.
You're going to talk about them. We're going to sit back and listen. So everyone grab your coffee, tea, cocoa, whiskey, whatever that looks like. Have a seat and have a listen.
Yeah. So I feel like I should have
It was a dark and stormy night.
I know. I'm like, do we need to do like a trigger warning, or do we need a safe word, or
So yeah, well, you know, our show is about journey stories and authenticity. We've heard a lot on this show that's just the nature of soul wanderings.
Yeah.
It is raw at times, and it will make you laugh. It will make you cry. It will make you question life. It will be, you know, all kinds of things. It's just a wild ride over here.
Okay.
So when I say sit back and relax, take a deep breath. In addition, Stacy's story is real as it can get.
Yeah.
So if you want to give a trigger warning, there are some things that the title, The Things We Don't Talk About, that should be a pretty good trigger warning. May happen.
Yeah.
But let's talk about your book, because that is what it is, your journey story.
Mm-hmm.
So there are stories inside this book that you're going to share with us tonight. And I think that's where we just go from here.
And that's why the writing process was so interesting. And I knew it was going to be cathartic. I knew that it was going to be an emotional process, but that's also why it took 2.5 years. And some people are like, that's not very long. Well, and I could have kept writing, to be honest. I could have.
So does that mean there's a second book? And
there's definitely going to be a second book, which is, I say the second book is going to be less personal because I am speaking a lot, and I do speak on leadership a lot. And I've been asked, well, do you have a leadership book? I'm like, well, no, I have a memoir that is pretty personal. But as I've been starting to do the research for this next book, and it's not just leadership, but women and minority women in leadership, and there's not a lot of either of those. And so I say my next book isn't as personal, but it's still pretty personal because that is something that's near and dear to my heart.
And needed.
Yes, and needed. And it's funny because as I start getting vocal about certain things like that, it's an interesting place to be. That, you know, some people, I think if you say words like diversity and inclusion and representation, people get kind of squeamish, which is interesting. So that will be a fun one. My next book.
You're all about making people uncomfortable.
You know why? Because you know what? You grow outside of that space where you're uncomfortable is where you experience the most growth. So you're welcome.
Yes. That's what I'm just here to show you.
I know. I'm just here to help you grow. That's all, because I love you and I care about you.
Truth.
But
that is the truth.
So my process with the writing, and part of it is that more of my stories were happening as this time was unfolding for the past 2.5 years, because, you know, one of the topics that I cover is suicide. And that was, I lost one of my dear friends a year and a half ago, completely unexpected, and working through that experience, because he was one of my running friends. And it's kind of like I guess I'm going to keep referencing Legally Blonde tonight, but they're like, I always thought, endorphins cause happiness, and happy people don't just kill someone, right? And that's what I kept thinking with him, was like, he's a runner, he's happy, he's endorphins, he's got all these things going on in his life. Like, why? No one ever saw that he got to that dark place, that he was in there. And so to go through that experience, and it was a big, again, just life-changing.
I really liked that you shared Kyle's story in the book, because I didn't know him personally, but I knew of Kyle.
I feel like everyone did.
Everyone did. And our community's not tiny. It's not huge, but everyone knew him.
Yeah.
And so I had known of him and had heard of him in several conversations. And when everything happened, it was a really hard week anyway, because I had lost another person I knew the same way, plus several celebrities that week. Like, we were all like, what is going on?
That was the same week as Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade and Kyle. And yeah, it just was like, it felt like the whole world was having this just massive wave of sadness and melancholy. And yes, I felt that too with the celebrities, but man, it was really, really close to home with Kyle. So yeah, that was a big piece of the story. And even including his story in the book, I did reach out to one of his family members, and I wanted to make sure that I was respectful about sharing his story. And I said, I think it's important. I think that it is something that we do need to talk about. We do need to share it. And for me, it's a way for me to honor him, because he was a beautiful person.
Tell me about him.
So when I met him, he had just run a couple marathons, and I met him through our running group, and he was just this, the word I used in the book, and it is that he was effervescent. He was just bubbly and light and this beautiful soul. And as I got to know him, he had told me that he had quit a 22-year smoking habit. And we kind of joked around like, okay, you replaced one addiction with another. Like, you quit smoking and now you're going to start running marathons. And he was like, well, it seemed like the logical thing to do. And that's just what he started doing. And he just was giving. He had his own electrical company, and he was doing electrical work on one of the nonprofits to help the youth futures. He was doing their electrical work for their new shelter. And he was doing everything, free of charge. And that was just the kind of person he was. He wanted to give, and he wanted to help, and he wanted to take care of people. And he had some other issues from his past, with abuse and some homelessness as a teen and some drug use. And so, he had his hard times. And I'm like, I could relate to that as we talked about those different things in our past. And he had just run another marathon, literally 2.5 weeks before he died. And just shocking, just absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is heartbreaking. It is a thing, though, and it's something that very few of us talk about, and it's happening all around us. We all know someone, or know someone who knew someone who's had that kind of loss in their life. And we all feel bad. We all don't know what to say, and we don't know how to talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know one person who hasn't hit that spot in their life where they've even questioned for themselves.
Right. Yeah, and that's, the way when I wrote the story, I talked about when I was at my low. And I remember there was a night, I can very specifically recall every detail of this night, that I thought, if I died tonight, that would be okay. It would be it would probably stop this pain that I feel like I will never escape. And, fortunately, that wasn't my day. But I've been in a dark place, and I have felt that hopelessness, and it is overwhelming. So really, for me to think that he was there and that we didn't see it, and how could someone who gave so much to everyone else, and why couldn't any of us? And we all felt that way because he was involved in a lot of local nonprofits, and we all felt like, how did we not see it, and why couldn't we have done something? And
it's really neat that you're keeping his memory alive by sharing his story and even including it in yours.
Yeah. He pops up all the time. I got up this morning and I was even like feeling his energy, and I went to Best Buy today, and the kid who I had to ask him where something was because I'm getting my Christmas presents for my kids, and the kid's name at Best Buy was Kyle. And it's just, it's funny. I mean, I my first speaking event this year, at the beginning of the year, I had a friend who invited me to speak at her event in Kyle, Texas. And I, like, when
Of all places.
I know, of all places, I didn't even know there was a town called Kyle, Texas. And when she sent me the email and I looked at that, I was like, he is just, I don't know, he's laughing or messing with me or whatever he's doing, but he is with me, and he is on this journey, and I feel like he's helping me on this journey. And
I believe that. Even when you started talking about him, like, I just started getting all these bumps and chills, and he's very much with you.
He is.
It's neat. Hi, Kyle.
Hi, Kyle. I mean, I wish he was actually with me, but
he is. The veil is so thin.
But yeah. That was a hard, and I feel so much for people who have gone through that, either had that experience for themselves and felt, gone to a dark place and dealt with depression, and for those who have lost loved ones, it's a real pain. It's just a pain that there's nothing else that compares to that.
There isn't. There really isn't, because all the people who are left behind really beat themselves up and wonder how they could have been more, done more, said something, been something. And it's hard for everybody around. Yeah. Thanks for talking about it.
Yeah. Thank you for allowing me the space.
So your life has definitely had its ups and downs.
Yeah.
That was a big sigh.
Yeah. Well, like, one of the biggest stories that I share is my past and being sexually abused by my dad. And that was also a story that, so already I have this traumatic thing happen to me when I'm young, but that was also how I experienced the loss of my religion, because I did grow up in the Mormon church, and my experience with my abuse and how the church kind of protected my father through that process. That was also a painful experience because, when you grow up with that, we're tribal. We want to belong and we want to be in our groups and our circles. And I had grown up with this circle of friends, and I grew up in South Carolina where being Mormon was very, like, we might as well have had two heads because we were people.
Being Mormon anywhere, you might as well have two heads.
Well, they were like,
that's
you're
how they
what?
get treated.
I know, yeah. So having this circle of friends that we were like, we stuck together because we were, the minority around like lots of Baptists and Episcopalians and Presbyterians and all these other religions. And so working through that experience and feeling like, okay, now I no longer have a dad in my life. My parents got divorced, and then now I no longer have this religion that has always been a big part of my life. And now I no longer have my friends from the religion. So it was big. It was so much loss as a teenager. And again, some things that I internalized and things that I was ashamed of, and feeling like now I'm worthless because I've had this thing happen to me and I'm tarnished. And now that I'm a mom and I'm older and I can recognize all kind of everything that I had gone through, I'm like, man, like I wasn't protected. I wasn't, I feel really sad for that girl who went through that. And I feel bad for my mom. In fact, when I gave my mom her copy of the book, she's like, do I need to drink? Like, do I need to drink to read this? And I said, probably. Like, I probably should have gotten you a bottle of Fireball and like given you this so you could get through the book. But she ended up, after she read it, she said it was so good and it was so wonderful. And I'm glad that I did her justice, because obviously if I'm sharing my story, I'm sharing some of her story too.
Right.
And I wanted to make sure I was very respectful of that. And, but I think that she blamed herself for a long time, because first she didn't realize what was going on, and she was married to a predator, and he had been doing things for years to not just me, but other people and some of, a lot of her family members. And I think she harbored a lot of, on her part, she was ashamed and broken. And so it was hard for her to protect me, because she could barely even take care of herself during that time. It was, and I totally get that. I get that now.
Now as an adult, right?
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. But yeah, so lots of big, heavy things. But also, I'm sharing these heavy things and talking about, these things we don't talk about. But what I really wanted, when I share the stories, I share some of the lighter side of things, and I do try to keep it.
You do keep it light,
there,
and humorous.
There are dark. I guess I have some dark humor, but it's just that there's always light with darkness.
It's already hard enough to talk about, so why not lighten it up a little bit? Yeah, so we can get through that conversation.
Yeah, and because we need to be real about it, we wrap these things up. The parents who want to protect their kids and not talk about these things, if you're not talking to your kids about the bad things in the world, how are they ever going to be aware of it and protect themselves? So it's been a great thing for me as a parent that we have open conversations in my family, and they know, my boys know what's right and wrong, and not only for them, if we tell them, if a grown-up were to ever touch you, but we also tell them also you can't touch other people too, right? Like it's two-sided. And I think people are scared to have these conversations with their kids. And then we have these high rates of, we've got rape and sexual abuse and sexual assault and all these crazy things. And it's like, have the conversations.
Right. It's frustrating. Like, I can feel you're getting frustrated because, like, what do? You can't control the conversations in other people's homes, but you're starting them by sharing yours. And that's amazing in and of itself. The people who, I don't even like to say survivors. I've never called myself a survivor or a victim or anything like that, but the people who have come forward and shared their experiences, not only does it take courage, because you don't even know if they'll believe you, right? Especially as a child. Yes. But children don't make these things up. Yeah. And more and more people, I feel like you see in the news and the media, are coming out and sharing their experiences and bringing these people forward. There's a movement, if you will. Yeah. Those conversations are happening, whether people believe them or not, if they're getting ostracized for them or whatever that looks like, it's still happening. Yeah. And it is too bad that there is definitely a lot of victim shaming, victim blaming. And that's why a lot of people are afraid to speak up. And then when they do, there's people will question, well, why did it take so long? Why are you just now? Right. Because there's that fear. Well, and it's not only the fear. You go through a rainbow of emotions. Absolutely. Let's be honest, because you'll think it's your fault, or you'll the aftermath of feeling like dirty, or plus if the person, just all those feelings. Maybe it wasn't maybe I wanted it. Maybe it was, maybe that's what love looks like. And then the aftermath of that, of what love looks like and how that affects your relationships. And it's like a never ending cycle until you become aware of it. And you're like, oh, yeah, so I can heal this.
Yeah.
And I can talk about it. And that it's something that happened to me, but
it doesn't define you. And
it does not define you. You're not all the things you believed you were.
Yeah.
So how old were you when you decided to share your experience so that somebody knew?
Well, I say fortunately, and what happened was my mom was one of 6 girls, and we were in South Carolina and her family was in New Jersey, and her youngest sister was getting married. So usually we would make the drive from South Carolina up to New Jersey, and we'd all, do we'd go as a family. But my mom didn't want to drag us all along, so she's like, I'm just going to fly up there by myself, do the wedding and come home. So her family took the opportunity that my dad wasn't around, and they sat her down and they told her, we need to tell you that your husband has, and they had been married at this point for like 17 years. He had basically come on to every single one of her family members. He had an affair with one of her sisters. Our cousin, we found out that our cousin was actually our half brother. So she had a laundry list of transgressions of years and years of things that he had done. And so she came home from that wedding, and I remember picking her up from the airport, and I just knew, I could tell that there was something wrong. And we got home. She told me and my sister to go down to our room. We lived in a split level house, and there were 3 bedrooms upstairs and our bedroom downstairs. And so my sister's a year older than me. We went to our room, and I could hear my mom just screaming at my dad. And I looked at my sister and I said, I think I know what they're fighting about. And she's like, what? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, okay, let's just wait for mom to come down here. So she came into our room and she said, I just need to know if anything's ever happened with your dad, if your dad's ever done anything to you. And I remembered even then when she flat out asked me, there was still a part of me that was like, maybe I should lie. Maybe I should, I don't know why these thoughts were in my mind. Like, I felt like I needed to protect my dad. Or
how old were you at that time? I
was 12. I think I was in 6th grade when we had that conversation.
That would make sense.
Yeah. So, I did. I told her, I said, he's been coming into our room, and I shared that room with my sister, and my sister, he had never done anything to her. And it was just the weirdest thing, because I couldn't pinpoint when it started, but by the time she had asked me, it had been a couple years. Mm-hmm. And she said, why didn't you tell me? Like, why didn't, and I said, because I didn't think you'd believe me. So I say, fortunately, thank goodness, she had so much other stuff that she knew about him that
there's no way to deny
it. But
right.
yeah.
And that does happen in a lot of families. The wives will take the husband's side because situation.
I have heard so many stories of girls who say when they came out that their family shunned them, blamed them, that, their abuser was protected or, covered up, and they were the ones who got the raw end of the deal. And I'm I guess I'm fortunate that I didn't have to worry about that.
Mm-hmm. And the aftermath of just having the relief of your mom knowing, was there a lot of support at that time?
Yeah,
and it obviously changed your whole entire world as you knew it.
It did feel good to have that weight off of me. I hated that my mom had to go through what she went through, and I did feel like part of it was my fault. Mm-hmm. But even if he hadn't been abusing me, everything else that he had been doing, well, and here's the kicker, I guess. She went to the church leaders for counsel and asked them, and she laid everything out. She told them,
what do I do?
Everything that he had done. And they said, you need to forgive him And if you don't, then you are the bigger sinner in the eyes of the Lord.
Of course they did.
And and that was kind of, and she really, like, she tried. She came home, and we stayed in the house with my dad for another year while they tried to, work it out, because she was trying to be this good Mormon wife, and
Christ-like.
Yeah, she finally couldn't do it, and
wow,
yeah,
what a situation for her to be in, and then still stay and you guys to be in that environment as well. But the beautiful thing is, obviously, that lasted. I'm sure the year was very long, but it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
And fortunately, you guys were able to get out of that situation and move on.
Yes.
Move forward with your lives.
Yes.
The silver lining.
Yes.
You guys are listening to Soul Wanderings here on KGRAradio.com. Let's take a quick break. It's a good time. And we'll return shortly to continue our wandering with our guest, Stacy Bernal.
Is that a new music app?
Yeah, check it out. Surfer Music Discovery. It links to thousands of online stations, but the twist is you see the song names and artists that are now playing live.
That's different. No guessing. Looks like a waterfall of music.
So many formats. Rock, oldies, country, R&B, jazz, and a whole lot more.
How's that spelled?
Surfer. S-U-R-F-R.
Is it expensive?
It's free. No need to sign up or sign in.
Get the Surfer Music app free from Google Play or the App Store.
Happy holidays, everyone. It's Micah Hanks from the Gralien Report. And while you're stuffing stockings this holiday season, make sure that you've got it tuned to KGRAradio.com, where you can hear me and the Gralien Report every Monday night from 6 to 8 p.m. East Coast time. Merry Christmas, everyone.
You're listening to the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
It's a whole new way of life.
Salt Lake City, Utah. Hudson Valley, New York.
Every 2 seconds, someone needs blood. Whether it's a natural disaster or one single child suffering from illness, the American Red Cross stands ready to supply blood when it's most needed. But blood is a perishable product. Therefore, it must continuously be replenished. You can safely donate blood every 56 days. The need is constant and patients are waiting. Call your American Red Cross at 1-800-GIVE-LIFE to schedule your life-saving appointment. Please give blood today. Patients are depending on you.
Author Kathleen Watts, a.k.a. Thought Continuum, shares a double abduction experience in her book, Catch Me If You Can, a story of alien abduction and culprit plunder. This 1976 true life account of a close encounter in northern Utah near Hill Air Force Base. Imagine driving home from the movies with your spouse when your car suddenly stops working, and it's in that very same moment that you realize you are the only thing animated. Catch Me If You Can, the 5th anniversary edition with lead-in material for the upcoming release of Payback is a Glitch from award-winning author Kathleen Watts. Get your copy today. Log on to thoughtcontinuum.com. That's thoughtcontinuum.com.
Find the podcast on iTunes, iHeart, and Spotify. KGRAradio.com.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. You are listening to Soul Wanderings on KGRA Digital Broadcasting, Salt Lake City, Utah, Hudson Valley, New York. And Soul Wanderings is found here as well as several other platforms like Spotify, TalkStream Live, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, iTunes. You get the point. A lot of them all over. Just look for us. We're there. And of course, make sure you guys check out YouTube. Yes, the I can talk. The official KGRA Radio on YouTube. That's where all the latest show archives are being held. But wherever you guys are listening from, whether it's live tonight or found us on a replay, thanks for being here. Thanks for spending time with us. If you guys have questions for our guests, we're headed into the second half of our wandering and still have tons of time for you to ask. So make sure you guys hop into the chat room. It's on kgraradio.com/chat. Tonight we've been wandering with Stacy Bernal, author of The Things We Don't Talk About. And before the break, we were talking about, well, I wasn't. Stacy was talking about some heavy things, but important things that, if you've been a listener of the show, you know I like the heavy stuff because that's where the growth happens.
Yeah.
That's where the magic happens. That's where we find our true selves is blossoming into that role.
Yeah.
And here you are. She's so bright and shiny, you guys. I just stare at her. I'm just like, oh. Like, really, for everything that you've been through and all of the triumphs, there's obviously been all of the trials, there's obviously been a lot of triumphs as well.
Yes.
So, I mean, no wonder she's all bright and shiny right now.
Well, it's, I got to a point in my life where I feel like I could find the reasons why certain things happened.
Yeah.
And I just, I honestly wouldn't go back and change any of those bad experiences. And I think most people who have gone through their hardships, I think that they would say the same thing.
Yeah.
Because, going through that fire and coming out on the other side, you are a warrior. You are this stronger person because of it. So I'm happy for those experiences, I guess.
It does sound cliche, like I'm so thankful for where my journey has led me through the things I've been through. But in all honesty, that's the way it is. When you walk through that fire and you come out of it, you are a different person. And why wouldn't you want to be a better version of yourself?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, not that we'd wish any of this stuff on anyone, but we all sign up for really hard experiences.
Yeah.
So, check you out now.
I find I'm grateful.
I love that you look at it now in gratitude. It's such a beautiful place to be. And, I've shared this on the show before, and because you're here and this is your experience, the whole forgiveness thing, I've learned that when I have grown the most is by forgiving those who did or have been whatever role, part, whatever piece in my puzzle. And there is incredible healing from that.
Yeah.
And letting it go and realizing this did happen, but it happened for me.
Right.
And then you get to look at them in a completely different light.
Yeah.
Like, thank you for showing up for me in that hard way.
Yeah.
So I could be this person I am today.
Yeah, I went through a really bad breakup before my rock bottom. And I remember for the longest time just feeling so resentful and angry at this guy. And it's, that was 11 years ago. And I have actually run into him a few times since then. And now it's like, thank you. Thank you for totally dumping on me and, you know, getting me into that dark place. Because when, I feel like when I was down at that bottom, like I looked up and I'm like, I have to get out of here. This is the only way out is up. And, part of that was working through that pain of that breakup, and it propelled me. It pushed me up and out, and got my wings and took off and
and you're flying, girl.
Flying.
You are flying. Yeah, relationships are great education for us. When people hold up that mirror and show us those parts of ourselves.
Lots of education with
that relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good though.
It is good.
Yeah. Boy, have I had some relationships. I'm sitting here thinking about all the relationships. It's incredible the bits and pieces you take with you.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully, if you're doing it right, you're improving as you go.
Yes.
Like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, relationship.
Yep.
Thank you, teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for showing up in my world. So the things that you've been sharing with us are all written in more detail in your book, The Things We Don't Talk About, A Memoir of Hardships, Healing, and Hope.
Yes.
I love that you added the healing and hope in there so people aren't like, yeah, no, I'm good.
No, yeah.
It gives them a little, this will be a happy ending.
Yes. It is a happy ending.
And there's a lot more that you did experience, though, that you did share in your book.
Yeah. I think one of the most, well, not super unique, but when I lost my first ex-husband, that was a very painful event because I had not been with him in years and, hadn't spoken to him in years, but he was my first love. He was a huge part.
That never goes away.
Right. I mean, his name was also Stacy. So we were
the Stacys.
We were the Stacys. We had gotten married and divorced, but then we were like dating off and on for like 10 years, even after that. So we were this ridiculous, magnetic boomerang. Like we just always came back to each other. And it was just this weird thing that I always thought, we'll probably end up together somehow, someday, some way. We'll be 90 years old and we will end up, like the Notebook, and it was going to be this crazy ending. And so when he got sick, like, okay, I knew he was sick, but I thought, well, it's, and it was cancer, and, people can fight cancer. And I thought he would. And then he took a very, very sharp turn for the worse. And I mean, thankfully I did actually get to go see him before he passed, but it was so hard. And because now I'm happily married and, my life is this wonderful thing. And why would I be sad about my ex dying? And it was crazy. I was, couldn't tell my husband like, oh, I'm so sad that my ex-husband is dying. And it was hard. It was
kind of like something you felt like you had to go through alone.
Yeah. And I was bottling it up. Like I was going into the shower and crying, like sobbing in the shower, just trying so that I could get out and put myself back together and my husband wouldn't see what a wreck I was. And my kids, like I didn't, how do you explain to your kids like, oh, mommy's really sad because this guy that she used to be married to just died. And yeah, that was it was one of those things. It was hard to talk about. I didn't know who I could even talk to. Like, how do I talk about, this love, my first love,
mourning someone else.
Yeah. And then the experience with like his friends and family, because they kind of felt like I wasn't entitled to feel as sad as I did. And that also hurt. There was.
They were trying to take your grief from you like you didn't deserve it or earn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big sigh. I love when people know what's best for us.
Yeah.
Isn't that good?
I know.
Thank you to the teachers, like we said.
Yes.
Thank you.
So many teachers in our lives. But yeah, so
tell me about your relationship with him. Why was it, how was he your first love? Like what you guys kept coming back to each other? What was that whole energy like for you?
I saw him for the first time when I was in probably 5th or 6th grade, riding around, in the neighborhood. I was riding bikes with my girlfriend and I saw him playing basketball with some other guys. And when I found out his name was Stacy, I just giggled. I'm like, guys aren't named Stacy. Like, that's my name. And so I remember always just kind of being like, oh my gosh, there's a boy named Stacy, and that's funny. And when we were in high school, because he was a senior when I was a freshman in high school, I just thought he was the cutest boy. And I would see him in the hallways, and he was just like the coolest guy. Like, everyone wanted to be his friend, and he was a jock. He did all the sports, but he also loved to write, and he was this artistic, deep soul, and I just wanted all of that. I just wanted to be,
you were melting.
I wanted to be in his world. And so we started dating right before he graduated, and then dated all through the summer after he graduated. And then when he went to college, I figured, all right, we'll probably break up now. And instead he told me he loved me for the first time, and then I was hooked. And so then he's in college, and he was only 2 hours away, but I'm a teenager, I'm a high school girl.
That's a long way.
It's a long way. And so we would break up and we'd get back together, and he did stupid stuff too, because he was partying, and he was, he'd hook up with a girl, and I'd be like, you idiot, and we'd break up, and we just, that was kind of our pattern, all through high school, break up, get back together. And then we, after I graduated, and there's more stuff to the story, but
read the book.
I know. I'll save some of it for the book because it's juicy.
Yes, read the book. It tells all.
We got married, and then he joined the Air Force. And when he left to join the Air Force, I was like, oh, maybe I don't want to be married. And so I left. I know that one was on me. But then over the course of the next 10 years, we were still on again, off again, and it was long distance, but I would fly to see him, or he'd fly to see me, and we'd go all over, and we just
did all the things.
It just always, he would laugh at me because he'd be like, I don't know why you think you're gonna break up with me, because you're gonna be, we're gonna get back together. And I'm like, no, we're not. And then we'd end up back together. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't expect him to die when he was 42,
So young.
Mm-hmm. And I was sad because he didn't ever remarry, and he didn't, ever get to experience a lot of things that I wish he had.
Mm-hmm.
So I mourned that too. If it wasn't with me, I wanted him to be happy with someone.
Right.
So, yeah.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she does share more about that experience in her book. That chapter made me cry. That was a hard one to read.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here with Stacy tonight, and you guys, trust me, I'm keeping it cool right now. But
I know I
her
keep
book
making her cry.
No, it's a good book. Don't let us
I know
discourage from
people
reading
are like,
it. It
no
really
way.
is.
Yeah.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's like that good, the authentic good, where you really want to have a connection to someone else's story so you can connect to your own.
Yeah. And I think, just so to give people a taste of some of the not so heavy topics, but like, I have a 14-year-old autistic son, and so we talk about...
I wanted you to talk about him.
We talk about our adventures in autism, which are equal parts stressful and sad and frustrating and hilarious. And there's stuff that you just can't ever prepare yourself for the things that will happen as a special needs parent. And so that chapter, I think, is pretty funny. There's a lot of...
How old is your son now?
He's 14, and he is high functioning. So I know that I've got friends who have nonverbal kids, and I'm like, man, my son was kind of nonverbal until he was about 4, but he was so he had echolalia, which is he would repeat things, but he wasn't verbal, he wasn't talking.
So you knew,
we knew when he was 3.
Yeah,
we knew when he was 3 that he was autistic, and then when he was in 3rd grade, then we had a really extensive diagnosis done, and that was on top of the autism. It was unspecified anxiety disorder and ADHD. So he's got a lot of fun stuff going on.
So you probably have researched autism quite a bit, and there's a lot of controversy out there that autism is linked to different immunizations and things like that. What's your take on that?
the research really does say that there's not a link. That there's
so you don't believe any of his?
No. And I think if that were the case, then there would be a lot more autism. But yeah, it's I think there's a lot of things that with the diagnosis as far as why we have more diagnoses now is because...
Oh, and I just got a question in the chat room asking...
Is that what...
Yeah, do you think the MMR shot had anything to do with his autism?
No. And I'm just a parent. I'm not a scientist, but from the research that I have done and from what I have read scientifically, yeah, I don't think there was.
And now they're asking if you've ever seen the documentary Vaxxed.
I don't think I have seen Vaxxed.
Okay. Well, add it to your list.
Yes.
I don't know why he's
I will see
asking,
that.
but the guy that's asking, I know he does a lot of research. So.
Okay. No, that's great. I think research is great.
Research is great. I'm sure, though, everyone has an opinion on any kind of...
And the funny thing is, because because I know, so on the flip side of that, one of my other stories is that I had breast implants removed last year, and that's another one of those controversial topics.
Yeah, actually, it's crazy that you brought up your son and then this, because those are two topics I definitely want to touch on.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to talk about your son first, because there are a lot of people who have children with autism.
Yes.
So I know you do some extracurricular things revolved around autism. What is that? What do you do, and what does that look like?
So we created, it's called Awesome Autistic Ogden, and it is an event / community where our mission is to create more autism appreciation. We used to say awareness, but I follow another really great Facebook page called Conversations with Chevy. It's a mom out of Canada with a 19-year-old autistic boy who is adorable. But he was saying people are aware of autism. We all know about autism. We want to be appreciated. And I thought, that's perfect. So so what happened was a couple years ago, I saw that there was an autism walk in Salt Lake and there was an autism walk in Logan, but there wasn't anything in Ogden, which is
in the middle.
Yeah. And so I'm like,
and where we all live.
Yeah, where we are. I'm like, you know what? We're going to do an autism walk here. I'm just going to create it. And so it was so last minute. I put it out on Facebook and I'm like, hey, let's do an autism walk on April 2nd, because that's Autism Awareness Day. And we had about 20 people that showed up, and we had signs, and we just walked around the block, and it was freezing. And so it was just this very tiny thing. But the local newspaper got a wind of it. And so they came out and they did an article on my son, and they did an article on my friend's daughter. And then they did these cute videos. They're actually on YouTube that just show these little kind of glimpses of what it's like to have an autistic child. So anyway, so now we had, a little bit of momentum and traction and people that were interested in having conversations. And I love that. I want people ask me questions, ask me about my son, ask me what it's like, ask me what you can do to help make a better world for these kids. Right.
Right.
So this year we decided we're going to make a big event. And so in April, we had, that's where we created Awesome Autistic Ogden, and we had 14 vendors that came, and we had about 300 people that came, and we showed this documentary called Extraordinary People.
That's so
and
good.
We just want to kind of bridge the gap in the community, and so that people can find a place where they can get more information, can find more resources for their kids. These older kids who are aging out of school, what are their opportunities? What are their lives going to look like beyond that? And so, if we can create some sort of change in the community where even a business could figure out ways to employ special needs people, then that would be awesome too. But yeah, so that's one of the pieces that I do. And then we also created our nonprofit, which is the Bernal Badassery Foundation. And our mission for that is to help families and individuals both off and on the autism spectrum who are trying to improve their lives and need a helping hand along the way. So
It's so beautiful.
Yeah. And that's what I say. Like, how can I take my experiences and my hardships and now turn around and pay it forward and help other people?
What is it like being a parent of a child with autism?
You know, I have to say, he has come so far in the last couple of years, that now it's kind of cool. Like, now he's just this fun, quirky, super smart, totally unfiltered. He says funny stuff like all the time. And he is a funny kid, but he's not like, trying to be funny. He just says things that I'm like, oh my God, like you're neurotypical. Yes. Neurotypical kids would never say something like this, but he just doesn't care. And he's so awesome. But
if we could all be so.
Yeah, absolutely. If we could all be so genuine and authentic, because that's what he just is 100%. And I love it. But when he was younger, it was very, very challenging. And especially when I went back to college in 2010, I was a single mom. I was broke and having to get him taken care of. There was a part of me that felt very guilty going back to school and, having to put him in daycare. But I also knew, like, it's that self-care thing.
We do that as moms, though. We really do.
And I knew, like, if I can't take care of myself, I can't take care of him, and I need to be able to take care of him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we have had very hard times. We've had issues with teachers who, really only one teacher. We've been very fortunate that he's had so many loving, wonderful teachers, but we did have one really bad one. And
I would imagine you'd have to have a lot of patience.
Yes. I have learned immense patience because he was a handful, but again, he's gotten better now, and he's cool because he can be on his own. Like I can, even leave him alone for a little while, and he's fine. He's learned how to microwave taquitos.
Yum.
And he will eat those for every meal. I kid you not. He puts 4 on a plate and he puts them in the microwave and he slathers them in guacamole and hot sauce, and he'll do that for every meal.
That's my kind of meal.
Yeah. So we're getting into some good stages. He probably will never drive.
Yeah.
And he will probably live with us forever, which is fine. But I mean, I don't know. He's so smart, but he's just very, very socially awkward, and we don't really ever.
Beautiful.
He is like,
I really do enjoy being around any human that has special needs, because they just look at the world so differently than we do.
Yeah.
And it reminds me, like, wow, you're taking life way too seriously.
Yes. Yeah. They just have their beautiful spirits.
Right.
Their amazing energy. So I am very
What's been one
lucky.
of the biggest things you've learned from him?
I kind of feel like I am the autism whisperer. Like I recognize it. I recognize people with special needs, and it has made me really, really open to people's differences, and to I don't know, I think more kindness, because I think before, and I think it's kind of human nature, if we see someone who's being weird or silly, or if we see a kid acting out, because I see all the time people are like, oh, this kid's throwing a fit and this kid is a bad kid, and I step back and I think, are they throwing a fit, or are they having some sort of sensory overload? And so, for me, having that child and knowing my perspective, I can see it in other people, and it I don't know, like I can go up to a mom and say, I totally understand what you're going through, and
here, give me a hug.
And yes,
let me squeeze you for a minute.
I just love that. And I love these special needs kids they're just so cute. They're so cute. I went to the gym last week, and this guy is probably in his early 20s, and he comes over to me and he's like, hi, I really like the bus office. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, I lost my umbrella on a bus and I didn't find it. It was a red, white, and dark blue umbrella. And I said, oh, was that recent? And he's like, no, it was in 2011. And I just laughed. I'm like, oh, this guy. And he did this. It was high fitness. So it's like this dance aerobics class. And this guy,
I bet he loved
the whole time. And I just was like tearing up watching him. I'm like, oh, I just love him. And now I want to try to get my son to come work out with me. But just the cutest. I can see it and recognize it and not be like, oh, who's this weirdo? What's this?
Right.
Who's this guy talking to me? And just kindness and patience and acceptance.
That's so neat.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
We are going to take our last break for the evening, and when we return, we'll get to share, unfortunately, just a little more time with Stacy Bernal, but we'll be right back, you guys.
Oh, hello, everyone. This is Martin Willis from Podcast UFO at KGRA Radio, and I'm just wishing all of the listeners a wonderful and happy and healthy holiday season.
Hi, Matt Ray with America's First News here, and I have great news for those of you who suffer with debilitating migraine headaches, maybe a loved one or your child does. MigraLief, the nutritional migraine supplement everyone's talking about, now can be found at the vitamin shop stores nationwide and Meijer in the Midwest. For almost 2 decades, hundreds of thousands of migraine sufferers have benefited from MigraLief, and thousands of neurologists and headache specialists recommend it. Why is it popular? It's drug-free and addresses the specific nutritional needs of adults and children who suffer migraines. What's even better, MigraLief comes in a formula you can take daily and one on the spot as needed. So if you get migraines, get your life back on track. Go to MIG911.com. That's MIG and the numbers 911.com. That's also where you can read the testimonials. Or head on over to your local vitamin shop store nationwide or Meijer in the Midwest. If you get migraines, do yourself a favor. Change your life with MigraLief.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hey, this check is wrong. I worked a holiday and 7 hours of overtime. Not getting paid correctly is a real pain. It could also hurt our boss if our company provides out-of-compliance checks. That's right, construction companies doing business with the government can get fined, or officials of the companies can go to jail if the checks aren't right. It's a law. The Davis-Bacon Act has 30 compliance issues for every check, but there is an easy way for construction companies to be in compliance. EMARS offers Compliant Client, a web-based system that finds and corrects all 30 of the possible out-of-compliance check issues. Users of Compliant Client report an 80% savings in time and money. Running a weekly payroll usually takes about 5 minutes. All 15,000 plus clients of EMARS have never had a legal compliance issue. Plus, they sleep better on check day. Contact EMARS at emarsinc.com or call 480-595-0466.
The new KGRA YouTube channel is now live. Subscribe and be sure to hit the bell to stay up to date on the latest major announcements, alerts on trading topics, exclusive live streams, live video cast, and that's just the beginning. Be the first to know what's coming from the KGRA TV channel in real time. So keep it locked in to your contact for alternative talk radio on the internet. Your KGRAradio.com. This is Soul Wanderings Radio.
welcome back to Soul Wanderings on KGRARadio.com. I am AJ Rasmussen, your host this evening, and tonight we are wandering with our very special guest, Stacy Bernal. She's the author of The Things We Don't Talk About, a memoir of hardships, healing, and hope.
Yes, because there's always hope.
There's always hope.
Yes.
I believe that. And I'm talking about you. You just smile so big. She has so much to share with the world, you guys. If you're looking for a badass public speaker and is allowed to say badass in your speaking engagement or not, she can censor
I know.
herself.
I can use substitute words.
Yeah, this is your girl. Give her a call. We're going to give you some information at the end of the show, and she's definitely one for all types of gatherings, conventions, meetings, anything that you're looking for someone to come in and offer some motivation.
Yes.
Inspiration. Hope.
Yep.
All the good stuff.
Yeah. And just a teeny tiny bit of swearing or not.
Or not. She can censor herself.
Yeah,
but
we can definitely.
So we were talking about your son who has autism, and we kind of got into vaccines for a little quick second, but that's a whole other show.
I know.
And don't even get me started. But then you also brought up in that part about your breast implant illness, which I would love for you to share because it is a thing. And I have someone in my life, in my family, who went through something really big like that also.
Yeah.
So me personally, I don't know, but I've heard about.
Yeah, and if we're talking about documentaries, there is one on Netflix called The Bleeding Edge that I think is a great kind of starting point. And that one, The Bleeding Edge, isn't even really so much about implants. Well, breast implants. It really talked about the Esher birth control that that it talked about that and the lawsuits with that, and then the mesh, the bladder mesh, and hip replacements, and just different medical devices. And it just very superficially talked about breast implants. But there are some other documentaries that are coming out that are going more into the breast implants. So it will be interesting to see.
Another thing we don't talk about that needs to be talked about.
Yeah, because, and I get it. If you are a woman with breast implants, or if you are a woman thinking about getting breast implants, I totally get why you would not want to think that they could possibly make you sick. Like obviously I didn't think that, 11 years ago when I got mine. I didn't think, these could lead to future health issues. Like, we just want to feel good about ourselves. We have birthed babies, or they're uneven, or they're whatever.
Or just because we want them.
Get it. We get it. We have this idea of what is aesthetically pleasing and how they will make us feel. And I went through all that. I was like, that third divorce, and I was like, well, I got to do something with these saggy bags, and that's So I maxed out my credit cards, and I got my implants, and even when I got them, they tell you that they have a 10-year lifespan, and they say, in 10 years you're going to need to get them replaced, and you're just like, whatever, just stick them in. I don't care. I'll deal with it. 10 years from now.
Yeah.
But I had a friend who had gotten hers out in 2017, and she had just shared in this private group on Facebook about her experience. And I thought, oh no, like, I've had mine at that point. I had mine for almost 10 years, and I had some health issues over the past couple of years. And I thought, oh my gosh, could it be that I'm getting sick from my implants and that I'm having these different health issues? Because I was healthy. I mean, I'm a marathoner. I'm a triathlete. I was actually training for a half Ironman, and I was having, like, shortness of breath. I was having these skin issues, these really weird skin issues on my neck and my face. And I had some other symptoms, but yeah, the idea of that they might be my implants was terrifying. So, I decided to get them out. But not only that, it was going to be fairly obvious, like, because I'm in tank tops and sports bras, and I'm like, there's no way I can do this quietly.
The conversations were going to be had.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like one day I'm here with double D's, and the next day I'm here with these little baby B's. Like there was no way that I could have just like been like, oh yeah, I just lost weight, like just in my bosom area. So I was vocal about it. And I wrote this whole blog post, which was actually kind of the basis for the chapter in the book. But the blog post, I don't know if I can say the title of it was A Tale of Two, something that rhymes with cities, but is
it's in the book. And I had a good laugh.
And yeah,
I love that there's humor in this book. It really brings you back. It really brings you back.
I think that chapter is probably the one that people will laugh at the most, but because I have lots of euphemisms.
You did. There's a lot of humor in it.
But yeah, so the most interesting part of that experience was how I lost some friends because I think they felt personally attacked because I'm like, here's my story, here's what's happening, and I got mine removed. And I had a couple girls that didn't appreciate that. And they do, I'm in it. There's a big Facebook group dedicated to this issue, and so many women around the world. I mean, when I joined it, there were 60,000 women, and right now there's probably about 100,000 women that are going through, you're talking about autoimmune issues and just tons of symptoms,
like serious illnesses,
very serious illnesses, and no other cause for why they're having these issues. And anyway, so people are starting to share some of that, and some people don't like it and don't want to hear it. And because the medical community isn't recognizing it right now, they're not calling it a medical condition. It's, it's just a bunch of crazy hyperactive women that are, wanting to blame their problems. Yeah, hypochondriacs. But it's pretty amazing to see how many women do get their implants removed and then they feel better. The other side of that is, these big implant manufacturers were supposed to do 10-year studies, and they did not. They did not do the studies that they were supposed to do. And there is some scholarly research that has been done on that. So, like I said, it will be interesting to see what comes about in the next couple of years. And now, the FDA is starting to get involved, and
because it's just all in our heads.
I know.
It's amazing though, because they will get involved. There are some really detrimental things happening to women who are getting, or men, whoever decide to get the implants. Yeah. There are some serious health issues occurring.
Well, even, so like back to that, the Bleeding Edge documentary, that's what they were talking about is one of the people in this documentary was actually an orthopedic surgeon himself who had gotten a hip replacement and had this major health issues going on, and went back in to have the hip replacement fixed or removed or whatever he was doing, and it had started deteriorating inside his body. And that's
so scary.
You're talking about chemicals and toxins, just
in your body.
Yeah. So your body's natural response is to fight that.
Right.
So.
It's so scary.
Yep.
There are so many people who do get all kinds of things put inside of their body. And you've got to wonder, like, what are the repercussions from that?
Yeah.
They're so worried about, what we're putting in our body, like food wise.
Right.
Why wouldn't you be worried about an object that's being surgically implanted inside of your body?
I know.
Yeah.
Yep.
And for whatever reason we do it, we do.
I know.
Knee replacements, breast implants, potato.
I know.
And we as humans are always just trying to feel better.
Yeah.
Having that.
And like I said, I totally get that that desire to want to look and feel a certain way. And I did. I mean, I did. I loved having them. They kind of changed my life at the time, because that was also about the time I started running. And I joke that, I would never have run before because they were so saggy and bouncy. I wouldn't want to. And then once I had my implants, I was like, oh, cool. Now they're, now I can run, and they're just, I don't need 5 bras to keep them still, and so
they do just stand on their own.
So I completely understand that, and
I do like the humor that you brought into that story. So anyone who has had implants or even had them removed, it's educational, but and informative, but also there's a lot of humor behind it, which makes it easier to read and talk about.
Yes.
Because we have such a stigma about
we
talking about things
joke
with our
about
bodies. Right. I mean, why not? Why not? We talk about them all the time with our girlfriends.
I know. So, and that I have to tell you, the other night I was watching one of the Star Wars movies with my boys because we got Disney Plus and we've been watching all of the movies.
Yay, we did too.
And so this ties my two favorite topics right now, the autism and the boobies. But we're watching the show and there's a C-3PO and it's a female C-3PO, but her body was just the regular C-3PO robot body, but she had a feminine voice. And so I say to my boys like, oh, she should have boobies. And my 14-year-old says, why would a machine have an aesthetic that only humans worry about? And I'm like, what? And he's like, Mom, you know that boobs are basically udders. And I'm like, dude, I mean, you're right. You're right.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm like, what other 14-year-old boy would say something like that? Like,
that's so
good.
Of
course a robot wouldn't have that aesthetic. That's only what humans only care about.
Very
that.
logical.
I'm like, oh, I love you, dude.
That is so awesome. That is so awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have more than your son. Tell me about your family now. You're married.
Yes. I have a 23-year-old daughter. Mm-hmm. She's married. And so we have she has a 1-year-old son, little baby Henry. And then Hayden is 14. And then our youngest is Eli. He is 7. And my husband is Dusty. We've been together for, oh my gosh, like 10 years, which for me, like that's a record. That's
a long time.
That's a long time.
I think that's a long time for anyone.
Yeah.
Anymore. We're so good. I shouldn't say we, but I'm saying we to not get into specifics, but we're just really great at very surface, superficial relationships anymore. Mm-hmm. So for anything to last over a couple of years is that's a feat.
Yeah.
That's a grand thing. I love when relationships last long and I get to hear about it because that's dedication and commitment. And
I can't believe it's mine because I was,
it's wonderful.
When we started.
And you deserve that. You deserve to have someone on your side like that, especially after, everyone deserves it, but especially with everything that you've gone through and all the things that you believed about yourself aren't so true anymore, are they?
Yes. He's a good one. I lucked out. They say 3rd time's a charm, but turns out it was the 4th.
So you have been married 4 times.
Yes.
And that's a little more than average.
Yes.
Usually it's like 2, 3 maybe.
Yeah, it is. But I'm above average, so.
It's true. It's true. There's no judgment. I'm just saying that in and of itself is an experience.
I know.
And education, as we were saying.
And when I met Dusty and when we started dating, I didn't tell him for a few months because.
Oh, really? You're like, no disclaimer right away?
In my mind, I was like not going to get serious with this guy. And so I'm like, he doesn't need to know, right? Like who needs to know how many exes I have in my closet? But when I realized that I really actually liked him and we might be dating for a little while, I was like, you should probably know that I've been here. He knew that I had been married at least once, but I finally told him that I had been married 3 times, and he was like, okay, like that's cool. And I'm like, really? Is that cool? He tried to play it cool, but he's like, well, all my brothers and sisters have been married and remarried, married and divorced and remarried. I'm like, yeah, but that's your brothers and sister. Like that's your family. It's not you. So, yeah.
And he's still here.
Yeah.
Way to go, Dusty.
I know. Shout out for Dusty Dog.
I love it. That's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
He's a sweetheart. In fact, the book I was more worried about him reading it than anybody else.
Is that because of what you experienced that you didn't share with them during the process of your grief?
Absolutely. The story about my ex-husband, and even the stories about my dad, because Dusty knew I had a history of abuse, but we had not really gone into detail about it. And so, even when I was writing it and going back 30 years and reliving those emotions and the fear and the dread of, the things that were happening, I've never really spoken about that to anyone. Even in like a therapy session, I've never really shared that. And I certainly didn't with Dusty. It just, how do you have a conversation and you're like, hey, I gotta tell you all this crap. So having the stories and then handing that over to him, because he read the entire manuscript before I published it, and I
was just about to ask you if he read it before.
Yeah, because I again, like, I need to be respectful of, it's my story, but there's so many other stories in there too, and so I'm like, you're in this too. Like, I want to make sure that I'm not oversharing something or it's too much, because want to be very respectful of that. But yeah, he actually read it in less than 24 hours, and I was shocked because he's not really a reader. And yeah, he read it and he was like, I'm proud of you and you're brave. And he's like, if you're willing to share all that and put it out there, then I'm gonna, I'm right here with you. And
Aww. What a support.
Yeah, he's been very supportive. So
that's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you that you have that, because especially when you're sharing something as vulnerable as you have, you really need that support. The cycle of emotions, I'm sure, just by even the hit send to send it off and have it on its way, just
that first week, I feel like I'm walking around naked.
Yeah.
Like there was no other.
Yeah.
Like knowing, and I was telling them, I'm like, knowing that people are reading my story, I'm like, that's terrifying. And then I was kind of bracing for this backlash and for people to come at me. And I really have not gotten that. I've had like one person who kind of had some, a little bit of negativity about it, and coming from the person it came from, I was not surprised. But honestly, everyone else has been.
I have heard amazing things about the book.
Yeah.
Several people have read it. We sell it at Vibes, and people have come back and been like, "Oh my gosh!" So, you really are making that ripple effect that you were that I'll refer to from earlier in the show. You really are having that effect on other people.
Yeah. That's what I want people to leave with. I want them to feel like, so Brene Brown is one of my love. Brene.
I know everyone.
Shout
loves
out
her.
Brene. She's in my book, and I
one day I'll
say
have
this.
her on
I know.
Soul Wanderings.
I know, right? I'm like, I'm gonna manifest that Brene is gonna be my BFF, but she's been so impactful in my journey and learning about shame and trauma and all of that. And so I reference her a lot in the book. I share a lot of her quotes, but
her and Oprah and
Oprah and Ellen. And by the way, they're going to be at that big
I saw
summit.
That. I'm going to manifest some money.
Please do, because I already got my ticket and I'm going. But I'm like,
so incredible.
I'm like, isn't that funny that I named all these women in my book and they're going to be in Salt Lake in March? I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to meet them. Like, I probably won't meet them, but I will be in the same room as them.
You never know.
I know.
I know,
right? But okay, now I lost my train of thought where I was going with that. But
Mel Robbins, you were talking about. Or no, Brene Brown. Sorry, you were talking about Brene Brown.
Yeah.
And her example to you.
Yeah.
Through your trauma and all that stuff.
Yeah. And I was going to make a really good point about something in the book.
Well,
but,
I can't read your mind, so I don't know where you were going.
Oh, yeah. But... So she talks about we're only as sick as our secrets, and how much power we give shame.
Yes.
And that shame, when we are silenced, and especially with the abuse, that researchers found that not talking about the abuse was more detrimental than the abuse itself. And when I remember I was actually listening to that book on Audible when I heard her say that, and I had to literally pull my car over and go back 30 seconds and listen to that again. And I was like, what? Not talking about the abuse or the traumatic event is more damaging than the event itself. And I thought, all those years, like I'm holding on to this and I'm carrying this, and it's just wreaking havoc. Mm-hmm. And that's part of my passion now is like, man, if I can help one person to overcome that in their lives. And I did speak at an event about 1.5 years ago for a local organization that works with abused kids. And I just got up and I shared a little bit of my story. And the office manager of this organization called me a few weeks later, and she said, I have to tell you something. She's like, there's a guy, he's been involved with our organization for years and years. His brother is actually a therapist that works with the kids. And she's like, this guy called me and he told me that after hearing you share your story, that he opened up about his abuse for the first time in his life, that he like came to her and he said, when I just, he's like, for her to be brave and to get out and share her story, he's like, I don't know why, but that was what I needed for me to, and now he's in therapy and he's working on himself. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And especially for a man, because I know how hard it is as a woman, but for a man who's gone through that.
I know, and it's becoming a thing. Mm-hmm. It's such an awesome thing to witness.
Yeah.
These men who are starting to show up for themselves.
Yeah.
It's so powerful.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about how you create this ripple effect, and we got off topic because girls do, and you couldn't remember what you were saying. I was like, yeah, but that's how girls talk. We talk in circles.
I know.
Everyone should know that by now. It's no surprise. And where were we? Oh,
I know. It's not a straight line. It's going to go like 7 other directions before we get there, but we will get there.
That's just the way we work. I mean, it's all good.
Yeah.
But it's really amazing that men are coming forward, and what an awesome platform for you to have the opportunity to send this book into the world and be that person for someone to begin their healing journey.
Yeah.
Kudos.
Yeah. And that's the best I can hope for.
Thank you for being brave. Thank you for showing up authentically and sharing your story. It really is the most amazing way to live.
Yep.
And I don't know if that happens with age. Just as you get older, you're like, I don't care what other people think anymore. I'm just going to be me, and I'm just going to share what I have to share. If you don't like it, don't listen. If you do, come and let's have some coffee. Let's talk about it.
Yep.
Okay, so we're towards the end of the show. I want to make sure everybody knows where they can get in touch with you if they're interested in you becoming a speaker at their event or purchasing your book or whatever that looks like.
Yeah. My website is cstacyspeak.com, and it's STACY, cstacyspeak.com, because I like alliteration.
CSEE, like with your eyes.
C with your eyes. SEESTACY, and then speak as in speak. So that is my website, and it is also my handle on pretty much every social, so Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And my book is on Amazon, and also if you're local, it's at Vibes.
Woo woo.
Yeah, and also if you're local, if you want a signed copy, get a hold of me, because I am happy to sign a copy and send it to you. So you can either get it directly on Amazon. You can either put in my name, Stacy Bernal, or the title of the book, The Things We Don't Talk About, or reach out to me if you would like a signed copy. I'm happy to send that.
That's so good.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, AJ.
It has been so awesome to have you here, and I love sharing space with authentic human beings.
Likewise.
So thank you for showing up.
Thank you.
Soul Wanderings can be found on all the social media platforms. Just search Soul Wanderings. And of course, make sure you guys are all following KGRA Radio, also on all the social media platforms, but especially YouTube, because that's where the show archives are being placed. And that's where you can go and listen at your leisure as many times as your heart desires. And I'd really love it if you shared with your friends and family about the show, about the station, and let's continue having these conversations that bring awareness and movement into our experiences. Let's keep growing, people. Thanks, everyone, for being here with us tonight, and have a happy day.